Before we understand what is a weak immune system, it's very important to understand what is our immune system. So our immune system is the barrier or the natural defense which God has given us to fight from different types of infections. Now, this immune system is in different layers. What you can see outside, which includes the tears that we produce, saliva that we produce, sweat that we produce. So this is the first line of defense which helps us fight from organisms, which we can see. A major part of our immune system is what we cannot see, that is which runs in our blood. It is stored in body organs like spleen, thymus, which are immune cells. There are millions of tiny cells which by themselves and by producing some compounds called antibodies, they help us fight infections. So whenever this immune system is functioning properly, you will not have repeated infections, you will not develop any autoimmune diseases, and also you will not get cancers, because the reason for getting some cancers is again a dysfunctional or an abnormally functioning immune system. So whenever there is either a deficiency of these cells, the body is not making these immune cells in proper quantity, or they are dysfunctional, so they don't form those antibodies or proteins which help us fight infections due to whatever reason. It could be you are having some inborn error which makes your immune system weak, or some lifestyle carelessness which makes it weak. Then this weak immune system is not strong enough to fight infection. And then what you end up getting is different sort of complications. You could start having infections every few weeks. You're running to hospitals. You're having to take multiple courses of antibiotic in a year. Small children, when they get these infections, their growth and development suffers. Or you could end up getting autoimmune diseases when you enter in your early 20s. Or you could get some lymphomas, leukemias, blood cancers like that. There are some things which can point towards your immune system being weak. So generally we explain to patients that having viral flu twice or thrice a year is normal. That is not the sign of a weak immune system. In fact, it is important to have these infections so that our immune system develops the resistance against these common viruses. If you end up having serious infections, for example, you're having ear infection every 2-3 months, or you end up having pneumonia 2-3 times a year, or you're having bad urinary infections because of which you land up in hospitals, you need to take IV antibiotics, you're getting repeated X-ray CTs of the lung, infections are not settling down. Or suppose you get very bad skin infections, which we call as bad boils, impetigo, and these kind of bad skin infections, which don't go away with simple topical applications. These are all clues that you're having an immune system dysfunction, your immune system is weak. Or if you start developing an autoimmune disease, or if you have a child who misses school very often because these children are falling sick every few weeks and they have to keep rushing to the pediatrician. These are all clues which recommend that you should visit an immunologist who can look up your immune system, because we have very effective and simple tests which can test how much or how well your immune system is functioning. A weak immune system not just predisposes you to infection, but yes, to two important other category of diseases called autoimmune diseases and cancer. So what happens in autoimmune diseases, it's not the weakening of the immune system, it's actually the dysfunction of the immune system. So something goes wrong with the fine-tuning of your immune system, and that becomes dysfunctional. While it is supposed to protect you from infections and fight the microorganisms which are around you in our environment and the body, it starts harming internal organs. So definitely, if you are careless about the lifestyle measures I just talked about, your immune system can go haywire and you can get autoimmune diseases. Second, what happens in cancer is that the immune system dysfunction leads to production of some cells which are called precancerous cells. And these precancerous cells multiply into millions of cells, which then start forming different types of cancers in the body. So yes, an abnormal immune system not just puts you at risk of infection, but these other two categories of diseases as well. If you're somebody who doesn't sleep well, who doesn't exercise, who smokes a lot, who takes a lot of stress, who's not healthy in eating, these are all factors which can make your immune system weak. So these are host factors. Then there are some environmental factors. Suppose a lot of pollution around you, or suppose your parents, when you were a child, they were so protective of you that they didn't let you go out and play. So we always recommend children and their parents, let them play in the sand, let them play in the mud. It's only going to make their immune system strong. So if a child has been shielded very well during their childhood, they do not develop the adequate immunity to protect themselves from infections and autoimmune diseases in future. So this is called the hygiene hypothesis. That's why it's very important to recommend young children to play out. So these are all the reasons which can make an immune system weak. Functions of the immune system can be tested by tests which are available now everywhere. These are called level 1, level 2, level 3 tests. Level 1 tests are tests which will measure the level of antibodies, or we call them immunoglobulins in the body, which test the immune function. They will also measure the different immune cells how much are their numbers, how is their level 2 tests are little advanced tests available in high-end laboratories or research centers which measure the function of the immune cell. So once we figure out that there's a particular immune dysfunction that you are having or an inborn error of immunity that you're having, we will work towards those specific tests for testing the immune function. And lastly, because there are genetic factors which put you at risk for these immune diseases, we will measure those genes by genome sequencing so that we can pinpoint exactly which immune system dysfunction you're having. Once we identify that there is a particular inborn error of immunity that is available, unfortunately, most of these treatments are expensive and available only at specialized centers which deal with immune system disorders. I happen to be an immunologist who also deals with these diseases. So these diseases, the treatment involves one, we have to give you regular antibiotics or antivirals or antifungals to keep common infections at bay. Second, if your immunoglobulin levels are low, we have to give you regular IVIG injections, which are immunoglobulin replacement given artificially. And there are some rarer immune system disorders for which gene therapy also is needed sometimes, where we try to correct the gene which is dysfunctional, which is causing a poor immune system. I don't say that nobody should have stress. Stress is a part of our life, but try to learn to manage it well. Meditation, yoga, all of this helps. Third thing is be very regular with your exercise. Make it a part of life, because exercise has been shown even in studies, like at the cellular level, studies show that exercise boosts the immune system. Four, keep checking your nutrition levels. So, vitamin A, E, B12, D, C deficiencies can also contribute to a pure immune system. So you should make sure that your nutrition levels are well in control, and if there's a deficiency, it should be corrected. You, somebody who smokes, cut down on your smoking. If you're used to binge alcohol drinking, cut that down to once in a while. Small amount of alcohol doesn't harm, but it should not be a regular part of your lifestyle. And last but not the least, if you are having repeated infections regularly, you think that there is something wrong with the immune system, check with your immunologist. We have very efficient vaccines available which cover most of the common infections that we see. So get the proper vaccinations. That again, your immunologist will tell you. Every individual doesn't need all vaccinations. What vaccine we need depends on the age, what age we are in, what environment we work in, what risks we are at acquiring different infections. And last but not the least, as we grow older, our immune system gradually starts weakening. So again, it becomes important that people who are post their 50s, in their early 50s or 60s, they should receive certain specific vaccinations for that age group. Our diet contributes to a good immune system in two ways. One, if you're eating a healthy, balanced diet, you will not develop micronutrient or vitamin deficiencies. So you will not have vitamin A, E, D, B12, C deficiencies, and your immune system will work well. Second thing is, if you're eating a healthy, balanced diet, you will have the right combination of protein, carbohydrates, and fats in your body, because at the end of the day, these immune cells are just like any other cell in the body in terms of their energy requirement. Like we need carbs, proteins, fats to function. These immune cells also need nutrients in the right balance so that they can function well. Another important thing is that if you eat too much of saturated fats, which are unhealthy, like you're having too much of dalda, margarine, such things, if you're having too much of fatty foods, or if you're having too much of red meat, chicken, mutton, junk food, artificial colas, beverages, all of these things have certain compounds or certain pro-inflammatory compounds which make our immune system weak at the end of the day. So it's very important to take care of these three things in diet.